Hey everyone, welcome to episode 244 of the All Dolphins podcast. A very, very special episode for Omar and I because guess what? It is our first year anniversary. Yep.
Happy anniversary, honey.
Happy anniversary, boo. Yep, the very first All Dolphins podcast was March 12th of last year, 2023. It's been a year and
244 episodes.
I can still stomach the sight of you on a regular basis. So how about I got to do this? And it's not. See, maybe that's a sign. It's not popping up.
Listen, I just close my eyes anytime somebody's annoying me and think to myself, it's not poop hard. So
there you go.
And see, when your wife rolls her eyes at you, you'd be like, you don't even roll your eyes like Omar does.
I got to get Omar to teach you how to do that properly. In all seriousness, it has been an absolute fun ride, joy this past year with that dude over there. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. So, and guess what? We're on to year 2. We're going to continue to do what we do.
Amen. So yes, this is officially the beginning of year 2, and tomorrow is the beginning of the official signing period. Not like people aren't agreeing to deals. As I said yesterday, I think if you sign a deal without meeting a coach, without talking to these executives or the position coach, you are making a mistake, but that's not the culture of the NFL. It is what it is. And we've got some new deals to report. Yesterday was the mad, ridiculous, crazy exodus, which we chronicled. Christian Wilkins, Andrew Van Ginkel, Robert Hunt, Brandon Jones. They got the bank broken out for them. The Brinks truck was rolled into their neighborhood. Robert Hunt, do you know he signed the biggest deal, a deal bigger than the Dolphins have ever given an offensive lineman?
How about that?
I mean, think about it. Just think about that. A bigger deal than the Dolphins have ever given an offensive lineman. And I'm happy for him. I'm tremendously thrilled for him, especially considering what he went through. I personally know Dan Morgan, and I know Dan Morgan's a good evaluator of talent. Would I have paid that price for Robert Hunt? No, but I'm certainly happy that he did get what he got and will probably help become a cornerstone for a Carolina offensive line. We all know Christian Wilkins in the $24 million man. He silenced and shut up everybody, including both of us, who
24, 24. I mean, 27 and a half. Don't shortchange the man.
Okay. If you say so. I'm dying to see how this deal plays out. And I'm dying to see how all of these deals play out. Brandon Jones.
Sure. But he's got the bottom line, he's got 84 guaranteed. I want to make a disclaimer, however, before we start, if I may. That yes, the deals do not become official until Wednesday at 4 p.m. Those apply only to the UFAs, not, for example, for one of the guys the Dolphins signed on Tuesday, and that's Shaq Barrett. Doesn't apply to Jonnu Smith. So yes, technically the possibility does exist that a player could say, you know what, yeah, no, I don't want to do it. Just like the possibility exists that a team can back out. I don't know that it's ever happened.
It doesn't pass a physical. It does happen.
Correct, but in terms of a player changing his mind, yeah, no. And what happens also is, for example, things can change because I'm losing my voice here. The Cincinnati Bengals apparently were going to release running back Joe Mixon. Oops, have changed their mind. Now they wound up trading him to the Houston Texans for a conditional 7th round pick.
And that doesn't make any sense to me from this standpoint. Why would Houston do that as opposed to just go get a running back in the free agent market? And there were tons of them there. But anyway, maybe they didn't want to make a huge financial commitment. And for a 7th round pick, fine, you get Joe Mixon.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there's a lot of comings and goings in the NFL, as you very well know. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. is the official beginning of the free agent signing period, official beginning of the new league year. As you know, Xavier Howard will be released at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. Until then, he cannot converse. Well, he cannot agree. Well, technically he can, but nobody's supposed to be able to talk to him right now. until he's officially released.
Correct, because he's not a UFA yet. Correct.
Yes. But there are guys out there like Jerome Baker, Emmanuel Ogba that I'm curious and interested to see what will happen with them in terms of their market. And hell, the Dolphins still have some free agents out there, some Raekwon Davises and Kendall Lambs and Isaiah Wynns and Deshaun Elliott. So this thing isn't over yet, and it'll be interesting to see how the Dolphins continue to produce their roster. Right now, we've got 5 newcomers.
Okay, hold on before you do that, though. Emmanuel Ogba was released. That was like 2 weeks ago. He could have signed with any team at any time. So there's no restrictions on him. The fact that I haven't heard his name mentioned whatsoever could be that he's going to be a second wave guy. It wasn't.
Yeah, Jerome Baker also been released, and he could have been easily a second. I mean, I don't know what Jerome Baker's going to be. I'm sure he's a Drew Rosenhaus client. He'll be fine. He'll be just fine.
Speaking of Drew Rosenhaus, he represents the last player with whom the Dolphins agreed to terms. And we should mention that as while we're taping this, who knows, maybe it's another player is agreeing with the Dolphins, because as we were doing our show yesterday with the 4 departures, lo and behold, Anthony Walker Jr., linebacker from the Browns, agreed to terms with the Dolphins. So we did not address him yesterday because it happened while we were taping. So as we're taping right now, the Dolphins agreed to terms with 3 players. No, it's 4 since we taped. Jonnu Smith was the 5th before that, and the 4: linebacker Anthony Walker Jr., linebacker Jordan Brooks, former first-round pick of the Seahawks, center Aaron Brewer coming over from the Tennessee Titans, and then the latest one, Drew's client, Shaq Barrett, former Denver Bronco, Tampa Bay Buccaneer the last 4 years, who led the NFL in sacks in 2019 when he had 19 of those.
That's a long time ago, bro.
Which is going to bring me up to my point here. If I'm going to be honest, and then I'll get to this particular part a little bit later, but like my favorite signing of those, I think, is probably Jordan Brooks. Maybe my least favorite, it very well might be Shaq. Well, Anthony Walker Jr. is kind of a depth piece. I don't think he's going to be a starter. Shaq Barrett, I think, is one of those where I would caution against expecting you looking at those numbers or the 10 sacks he had in 2021. The last 2 years combined, he had like 7.5 sacks in like 24 games. He's not that dude anymore.
He's a pitcher that's lost his fastball, is what
kind
you're
of
trying
sort
to
of,
say.
yeah. And I talked to somebody in Tampa Bay who covers the Bucs, and it was like more so a situational player. If he's going to start, he's going to need help elsewhere along the defensive line to get to the quarterback. And the other thing is the deal reported is 1 year up to $9 million. And this is where I would say at that price, if he winds up making the $9 million, I'd have much preferred investing that money and maybe upping it a little bit for Andrew Van Ginkel.
Oh, yeah, but that's multi-year deals.
It was 2 years. It was 2 years for Ginkel. It wasn't like 4 for.
I think that they are just trying to find a stopgap player, an option until Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb become healthy and available. I'm not saying that this is a good signing. I'm saying it's a bad signing. He battled an injury in 2022, came back from it, did not have an on-par season, but then he's also in his 30s. How old is he right now? 31?
31.
You know when football players turn 30, these NFL teams try to put you down like you're a wounded animal. So who's to say that he's got anything? Who's to say he doesn't have anything left? Who's to say that he's like Cam Wake and lost his fastball? Remember at the end of Cam Wake's tenure, and we in the media kept banging down Adam Gase's door, asking him, why doesn't Wake play more? Why doesn't Wake play more? And finally, Adam Gase tells us Cameron Wake chooses when he goes in and out of games. Mm-hmm. I don't decide that. And he's cherry picking situations and opportunities, not me. And we were all like, oh. And then we asked Wake about it, and he was like,
"Do we do this?"
Yeah. And Wake was like, got me.
No, he said I have to go get a haircut.
Yeah.
The story here is we often on Fridays became Cameron Wake's usual day to talk to the media, and quite often we either would have to wait for him to go get a haircut, from the team barber, like right at the facility, or he would do it and it would have to be fast because he had to go get a haircut. Hence the haircut joke.
Yeah. But who knows what Shaq's going to look like? I mean, really, this is about you didn't have any pass rushers, any zero, zilch, nada.
Yeah, no, but here's the point, though. Here's the thing. As we all know, Chubb's coming back from an ACL. Jalen Phillips coming back from an Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
I think the idea of expecting them to come back and at any point during the 2024 season be tip top, where you don't need a third guy on a rotational basis, I think is pretty heavy wishful thinking. So
Absolutely.
it's not just he's going to start the first couple of games while these two guys get up to speed, and then okay, go sit on the bench. Shaq, we'll call you when we need you. They need somebody who's going to be part of a rotation at least and do some heavy lifting at first. And that the concern is
Shaq Barrett's got the resume. He's got the body of work. I've also been an advocate for Malik Reed being re-signed. He came in and joined the team in the playoffs. I didn't think he had a bad training camp, and I remember watching that Kansas City Chiefs game. He was probably the lone player who was playing with his hair on fire, just absolutely hustling. I like players like that, and I think that he can help you as a stopgap player and a stopgap option. But then again, who knows? They might wait till rosters are getting cut to add pass rushers. I personally do not expect Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb back into the action, into the mix until October. I pretty much am projecting that they'll both begin the season on the PUP while they rehab from their injuries. So you're right. You do need about 3 pass rushers. You do need 3 outside linebackers, and that includes Cameron Good, because he might be on that October program as well. So this is a position that you definitely have to address. But you know what? It's interesting to see what they will do moving forward, because we really don't know what kind of scheme they plan on running. So we'll see.
Correct.
Shaquille Barrett's addition kind of hints that they will be a 3-4. So, he's not a big pass rusher. He's not an edge setting guy. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. To me, Jordan Brooks was my top addition.
Yep.
3 years, $30 million. Don't necessarily know what the guaranteed money is right at this very minute. But he was a player that the Seattle Seahawks didn't want to let go, but they obviously didn't want to compensate him. $10 million a season, fair, reasonable price. We'll see how he fits in, as will Anthony Walker with David Long Jr. I don't think David Long is going anywhere, but when you've got 3 reputable, instinctive inside linebackers, you got a chance to get you give yourself a chance to have a pretty good defense. Now, the question is, how are you going to fill out the rest of the holes that have been created by free agency? We talked about edge rushers. We need a defensive tackle to replace Christian Wilkins. Finally we get some replacements for Jerome Baker. A spot that Xavier Howard just vacated, that's a glaring vacancy sign over it. And unless you expect Kader Kohu or Nick Needham or Cam Smith to fill it, that's something that you either have to address in free agency or the draft. And right now, Elijah Campbell is the starting safety opposite Javon Holland, which I don't really have an issue with, because I said I like Elijah Campbell. Come on, I did. I thought
I did too. I was right there with you, and then it kind of faded. Like the star lost its shine a little bit, and then they wound up using him more as a corner last year than they did at safety.
Elijah Campbell?
Yes, Elijah Campbell, and it was kind of spotty at times. He did start. Yes, he did start at safety one game when both Holland and Elliott were out, but
I think he started 2.
Okay, you also saw some work at that corner, and he was okay. I'd be shocked if he was your opening day starter.
He's not going to be your opening day starter. Not with this flood of quality caliber safeties out there. The one guy I'm watching, I'm keeping my eyes on, especially now that Derrick Henry signed with the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, we're going to talk about Derrick Henry.
But is Justin Simmons. I'm a big Justin Simmons fan. How many times has that guy been second team All-Pro? I know, but I mean, you shook down players. You got yourself a little bit of money. You restructured some numbers. You didn't shake down players. You restructured some contracts and put in some void years, which I'm absolutely adamantly opposed to. But Brandon Shore's been doing bad business practices for a while now, which is exactly why we're in this predicament. And
don't pin that on Brandon Shore. You think Brandon Shore is the decision?
I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Who is in charge of the money? Who's in charge of the books? Who does the accounting?
He's not the one. If they do add void years on a couple of contracts. And by the way, I don't know if you saw the tweet from Jalen Ramsey, who was like, people out there saying I took a pay cut. Well, I'm getting all my money, so don't be feeling bad for me. He put that on a tweet.
Yeah, no.
Because they just moved the money around. They, like as you said, they didn't shake down any of those the four players who restructured, who were.
Yeah, but what you did.
Can I finish? Honey, can I finish?
Go ahead, finish.
You stop being my boo. Zach Sealer, Durham Smythe, Alec Ingold, Jalen Ramsey, they turned base salary and signing bonus. I can't take you serious. Sorry. Oh, no. Okay. No. Okay. No, they're good. I thought you had some kind of lines because I took off my glasses and I'm blind. So forgive me. Your glasses are cool, actually. So those four players, basically, they turned, again, base salary and roster bonuses into a restructure bonus. They're getting paid the exact same amount of money, except that they push it down and prorated different years, including void years. 2 of them for Jalen Ramsey. I think it's 2 for every one of those 4 guys, as I recall. And Omar hates it.
Void year. Here's how I can explain it to the average fan who does not pay attention to NFL finances. Void years are like, hey, I've got this $10,000 balance on my credit card. You know what? Let me go get another credit card and transfer that balance to another card and then start using the card that I just transferred it from. It's like, okay, you're not helping yourself. You're making your problems, you're just pushing your problems down the line.
Exactly what you're doing. Further. Kicking the can. That's what they did.
It's so like, when did we become this franchise that does bad business practices and bad business deals? When? Please tell me when. What was it? Because if it's in this all-in approach, do you really feel like you're all in right now? Do you really feel like you're all in right now?
Not anymore. But again, where they were with
maybe we should stop doing bad business.
But Omar, here's the thing: where they were with the salary cap, they cleared like about 28. With all those moves, they cleared 28 million, got themselves under the cap. Now they're cap compliant. So if the alternative was they had to do that, or they had to cut players, or add years, do extensions, and tie yourselves on to players for a longer period of time, is that really?
I would have done the extensions. You extend Jalen. Not to say that Jalen or Tyreek were willing participants in the extensions, because that also has to happen. Yeah.
You think Jalen gets a bag to extend that he would have even thought twice before saying?
I'm sorry. Jalen was going to get $25 million from the Miami Dolphins, no matter what. No matter what he did.
I understand that.
So, but if you got to make it beneficial for me to add more years to my contract, all that does to me, and it would have been easier to handle as opposed to adding void years. All that does to me is signal to me that those players, Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill, have 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out the door. And I don't like that.
No guaranteed salary beyond.
No guaranteed salary beyond. Exactly. No, answer this question to me, Alan Poupard.
Answer.
What player do you know that's a veteran, that's got status, that is a top 100 player, feels comfortable when he's going into a year without any guaranteed salary on the back there? Name him.
Except he's got so much bonus money coming that I think it alleviates some of the pressure. I understand what you're talking about, but he's got what is it, like 25 million over the next 5 years, like 5 million a pop over the next 5 years in bonus money. I think that kind of helps smooth the way Jalen's probably thinking is like, hey, if they move on, I'll go get a bag from somewhere else. Yeah,
bro, I'm sorry. It's a clear indicator. There has been, and hopefully this falls right under Jalen's radar, but there's been a clear sentiment of one guy who has not been pleased with a lot of things that have been going on and has not been silent about it. And that player is Jalen Ramsey. So, and I don't blame him. I don't like the direction that the franchise is going. So
The GM, no.
why would I sign up for it? I mean, Tyreek's given Chris Greer votes of confidence, and
Yep.
hopefully Tyreek is right, and Chris Greer's got a rabbit in his hat he's going to pull out one day. But I mean, this team don't look like last year's team. It's not done, because at this point we were celebrating the signings of what's that whack receiver's name? Cedric Wilson. We were like, oh yeah, Cedric Wilson's gonna replace Devontae Parker, and it's gonna be all good, all gravy.
Man, you're going back a couple of years now. Speaking of Devontae Parker, he signed with the Eagles. Are you?
Did he?
Yeah.
Damn, that was quick.
Yeah, but New England's on the hook for most of the salary. I think the Eagles are going to wind up paying like 1.2 or 1.3. And old friend Mike Gesicki is signing with the Cincinnati Bengals, where Jamar Chase has promised to teach him how to do the gritty correctly.
and I'd like to point out he's going to be making less money than Durham Smythe on his new deal.
3.25, I think, what I saw. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. And to me, it's two-part.
What's the elephant in the room?
It's not just that you lost this. Why is it not doing it when I'm asking it to? Anyway, your man crush, Derrick Henry.
Oh, that elephant
is agreeing to terms with Baltimore, which prevents the addition of the toughness factor, which you really wanted. But the center they signed, who by all accounts, and also we had a scouting report from our film dude, Dante Colonelli on alldolphins.com, on Aaron Brewer, really breaking down his game. And as a scuttlebutt was, he is an athletic center who can move, perhaps as well as any center in the NFL. He is not going to add any physicality to your offensive line.
Well, that's not fair. He adds physicality in the run game, but
you know what his forte is in the run game is getting to the second level because of his mobility and his quick. It's not like he's going to take on the nose tackle and mush him.
I mean, but centers rarely ever take on guys head on. But I hear what you're saying. But what concerns me the most is the pass protection, which has been suspect throughout the years, and throughout the last 2 years. And I believe 6 sacks allowed last year. Now, mind you, Tennessee's always had a good offensive line. So
not the last couple of years though. Booty. Ever since Taylor Lewan got hurt, and his career started going sideways because of the injuries, that offensive line went from being one of the best in the league to being one of the worst in the league.
So let's Aaron Brewer. My biggest concern is pass protection. But I will say this: the way Tua gets the ball out of his hands quickly, and the nature of this offense, and I'm putting on top of it Butch Barry's resume credentials and the stock that the status that he has earned based on how that unit performed last year. I give them the benefit of the doubt. If this is the center that you wanted, and obviously it was because you paid him big money, 3 years, $21 million. Hey. If you believe in this guy, you believe you could turn him around and make him a good upper echelon center, more power to you. You made Connor Williams one of the top centers in the NFL when he came here as a guard. I believe that they can do it again. What does concern me, though, obviously losing Robert Hunt is not going to be easy to replace. I mean, he's a $100 million player right now. Those aren't easy to replace. But now you're going to look at it from Liam Eichenberg's standpoint. I remember last year Eichenberg saying that right guard is his ideal position. Right guard is the position he wants to play. Well, now the right guard is vacant. It's yours unless they add a guy. And I personally believe the way that this offseason is shaken down, they're probably going to draft the 6th offensive tackle and then have him do the Laramie Tunsil program where he starts at left guard and then eventually moves out to left tackle when Teron Armstead, who got shaken down, eventually leaves or retires. And I personally do believe that this is going to be Teron's last season.
I agree on that part. I agree it would make sense to do the tackle, play my guard the first year, and then move him out.
So what do you disagree with, Mr. Alan Poupard? Because I know it's something.
Not in this particular segment. I know that's shocking.
I didn't mention Tua, so it's not too shocking. And I want to address something because this is what bothers me. This is what bothers me about Dolphin fan base. One, if Tua doesn't get a deal by tomorrow at 4 p.m., there's no reason to do a deal with Tua. Like they don't need to. They've got the cap space. They already put on whack void years on some deals. Like you don't need to extend Tua. So if you do it, it's because you want to do it. But people are using Tua in this $50 million extension, which I've already written a column explaining to you. He's not going to make.
Oh my God, you're going on that again?
It's true.
We get it. We stop saying
you don't. No, you don't. Because everybody in the world, they're dummies, and all they do is parrot out the number that they hear, everybody says. And Patrick Mahomes makes 45. Lamar Jackson makes 45.
Can I jump in for a second?
In the world thinks that Tua is going to make 50? Joe Burrow makes 42. Who in the world thinks Tua is going to make 50? Stop it, people.
Can I jump in for a second? Here's the only problem. I'm going to disagree with you there. The problem with your argument here is if we're going to apply that logic, and you're absolutely right, but if we're going to apply that position to the quarterbacks, if they say 4 for 200 for Tua, but it's not really 4 for 200. Okay, it's going to be written that way because if he sees every dollar of it, guaranteed and non, it's going to wind up being 4 for 200, but more likely not. But if we're going to do that, then we got to do that for all of the contracts. For example, Jordan Brooks. Sorry,
I do. I'm
not. Then Jordan Brooks is not 3 for 30 then, because the guaranteed money is what 21 or something.
I would never tell you. I mentioned these now, but when the deals finally get reported, I'll tell you what the real money is. That's what I do because I don't play with the fake numbers. Like Tyreek is not making $30 million a year. Tyreek is making $24 million a year. He will never see $30 million a year.
Okay, but again, this is, to me, we're getting lost in the weeds. And my position all along was that, again, I've said that Dolphins would be wise not, but, and I said if they are going to extend them, you extend them because you believe that's your guy, and then you do it. Then if that's the case, then that's fine. But this notion always of like, would you have to extend them to lower his cap number for 2024 was like, are you serious? No, not at that position. Sorry.
No. I wholeheartedly 1,000% agree with you. If you're going to extend him, you extend him before tomorrow at 4 p.m. because you need the cap space to make some big major move. And if you don't do that, then ride this thing out till training camp because there's no rush. And if you want to sign him. When on June 1st, you'll get Xavier Howard's money. You could do whatever you want. At that point, you get $18 million off the books. But until then, there's no point in you doing that deal unless, and I do want to address another thing. Previously on this podcast and in some of my columns, I've said Kirk Cousins was going to set the market, in my opinion, for what Tua Tagovailoa should be able to produce. Okay. Well, Kirk Cousins got, I got to look it up. Sorry. My bad. I should have come armed. I think he got
Shame. Go ahead.
I failed you, Poupard. I absolutely failed you.
And on our anniversary, on no less.
I know. Kirk Cousins and contract. I didn't know what he okay, so he got $90 million guaranteed over the next 2 years, and basically $10 million becomes guaranteed in 2026 if he's on the roster. So he got $100 million in guaranteed money over the course of a 4-year, basically 180 deal. So 3 years of that deal is going to be guaranteed. 4 years, 180. Jesus, Lord, have mercy. That's a lot 45. Of money.
That's 45, yes. But it's not real.
No. Yeah. So when we get to the breaking down the Kirk Cousins contract, when we get to the real money, he's got they've got him 25. This cap hit. Oh God, it's so hard, complicated to find what real money is. $50 million signing bonus. He's averaging $45 million in the NFL. So he got Kirk Cousins and Lamar. He got Patrick Mahomes. I've always respected Kirk Cousins and his business acumen and savvy.
Yeah.
His agent, Mike McCartney, is one of the best, especially when it comes to quarterbacks. But he is going to be $50 million signing bonus. Goodness gracious Lord. He's got a 12.5 base salary. So this year alone, Kirk Cousins is going to walk away with $62 million. $62 million. Then next year, he's going to be making $27.5 million. And the year after that, he's going to be making $35 million. And then obviously that's an option year. So his first 3 years is basically guaranteed at 3 years, $135 million. That's a lot of money.
That's $45 million a year.
$45 million a year. Well, I'm going south on that regarding Tua. $45 million a year. That's a lot, especially for an injured player. But hey, Atlanta, when you do desperate people do desperate things.
If they had any kind of quarterbacking last year, they would have made the playoffs, but that's a different story. We should mention also the reports that was from our good friend Cameron Wolf of a visit scheduled for Tuesday night, I believe it was, or Wednesday morning, of Surin Neal, defensive back with the Buffalo Bills, who has been pretty much a special teams dude in his 6 years in the NFL, played at Jacksonville State, core special teams guy.
After transferring from LSU, by the way. So he wasn't just like some leftover.
Oh.
And that was before the transfer portal. So, he couldn't transfer to a big time program. That was back in the day when, players weren't getting paid hundreds of $1,000s to play football. And they could pick a different school every third semester. But anyway,
Somebody has something on his mind about Neal in college football. Anyway, Surin Neal, if he does sign, that's a special team signing. Justin Bethel, who's been a core special teams guy, is an unrestricted free agent. Andrew Van Ginkel, who did play a lot of special teams, as we all know, is gone. I want to say Brandon Jones. Yep, also plays special teams. So they need to replenish that area and make it better. So that would be a solid signing. I can't imagine it would be for a whole lot of money. One of those, but it's one of those depth moves that can pay off down the line.
So let's recap it for you.
Yep.
Dolphins add Jordan Brooks, Anthony Walker, 2 inside linebackers, tight end Jonnu Smith, center Aaron Brewer, who clearly hints that Connor Williams will not be coming back, and then pass rusher Shaq Barrett. Poupard, what are the remaining needs?
Oh, big ugly in the middle of the defensive line to me is the one that's absolutely screaming after the loss of Wilkins, especially with Raekwon Davis as a UFA. They need a safety to pair up with Javon Holland, maybe 2 safeties. I still think they need a high-end cornerback to start opposite Jalen Ramsey. This is where I would look at the free agent market. I kind of like Oduzzi from the Bengals, who now is signed with Tennessee. He's a guy I liked. I'd have to look at what's out there right now, what's remaining to throw out a name. I'd still like to see some kind of a kick returner with home run ability. Dolphins had a really good doubles hitter last year, line drive hitter last year. I want somebody with power.
What about the receiving unit? What about the receiving core?
Oh yeah, but I was getting to that. The receiving unit, my guess. Sorry.
So you're getting to it too slowly to me.
Because I think the addition of Jonnu Smith really cushions or softens the need for a third wide receiver. Because I think he's a guy like, okay, enough putzing around. Your third receiver.
So you're saying Jonnu Smith is your slot receiver. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
I could see that. I could see that. You make me start to reconsider my vision here. I could definitely see that. Okay, I like that. I like the way you make me feel on that one. Okay.
the phrasing of "you like how I make you feel." Okay. Or hold on, let me do this.
You're fired. Your heart's ability it probably transferred.
I know I'm not doing it anymore. This is bad.
Yeah. Maybe it was like you getting this side of the screen. No.
Oh, maybe. Anyway, so yeah, they need to flush out the wide receiver core because there's just no bodies in there right now. But I don't think, again, to me, like I said, The interior of the offensive line needs to be addressed. At running back, they're like scuttlebutt that Savon Ahmed's going to come back. Then they haven't done anything with Jeff Wilson Jr. yet. They're going to do the same thing, bring back the 4 guys from the year before like they did last offseason.
Why not? Why not? You don't need to cut Jeff Wilson now. He's one of his guys. He's one of Mike McDaniel's guys. So it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward. But as you know, the All Dolphins podcast will be here. We've got stories up, all for free, no paywall, no subscriptions, no newsletter, no sign up. Just type it into your browser, alldolphins.com. All the work for free. So we'll be here wrapping up free agency, breaking down and explaining and analyzing. And hopefully you'll be here to join us as well. And we will see you tomorrow or mañana.